And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at a game called Mad City. Now, Mad City is a game that's produced by Mayfair and is in their Funfair line. The Funfair lines are games that are simple and easy to teach people. Kind of think of like a gateway game or a beginner's game line. Now, Mad City, I didn't know anything about it. I see a bunch of animals here building a city, but that's really has nothing to do with animals at all. In essence, it's a simultaneously speed city building game. Now, I know some people aren't fans of speed games, but don't turn away here. Let me show you how the game works first and then decide. Now, there are two games in the game. There is the base game, and then there is the standard game. I'm going to go over the base game first because they use a lot of the same things. Each player is going to get a score thing here with a colored cube of their choice that they will be using to keep score. You're going to place this little green tree in the middle of the table between players. You have a 1-minute timer, and then you have a bag that's full of tiles. Now, what each player is going to do is they're going to draw 9 of these tiles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They're going to put them face down, and at a prearranged signal, people will say go. We'll turn over the tile. You'll turn over these 9 tiles here, and you're going to try to build a city. Now, you can build this city any way you want. There's no rules about what you're going to place next to each other, but as you place the different tiles together, you're going to make different areas. So let me quick put this one together here and see what kind of areas I can build with this. All right. So I'm done. I made it before the timer was up. I can then grab the tree. The first person to finish will grab the tree, but once you've grabbed the tree, you can't make any more changes in your city. You can't change how big it's going to be. Once I'm done, whoever grabbed the tree is going to score for each park and for each lake area. And so these each have 1 spot each, so they're each going to get me 1 point. So I would get 5 points for them. Had I put 2 parks together like this, which would have been a much better move, these 2 parks together would have got me 3 points. So there's that. Also, the person who has the longest road, you don't have to put it this way, but whoever has the longest road is going to get extra points, and so that's the longest continuous road. I'm probably not going to win that if the other players used any kind of brains at all. But each area that's a different color is going to be counted together for points. So I look at the residential areas first, and the scoring for the residential areas is right here on your sheet. You can see that if there are 0 to 2 of these house symbols, it's not worth any points. 3 to 6, 1 point. 7 to 12, 3 points. And 13 is 5 points. So this area here and this area have 1 and 2 respectively. They're not worth any points. This area here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's worth 1 point. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's also worth 1 point. Probably would have been good to have connected those to get more points. Industrials, 0 to 1 is worth no points, so that's no points. This has 3, so 3 is worth 2 points. Industrial is better than residential. Then commercial, I have a spot that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this says if I have 8 or higher, you get 7 points. So I get 7 points for this, 1 point, 1 point for that, and 2 points for this, and then I got a point for each of the different parks because I was the first one to grab this. I will add up those points and move my point scoring thing accordingly. We will draw 9 more tiles and start up again, another round doing the same thing, and you keep going until someone gets to 150 points. The standard game is played very similarly, except each player, instead of automatically scoring, is going to have 9 scoring tiles that they're going to place next to their board, or next to each time they build one of these things here. So in this time, every time that you build let's say for example, I had those 2 residential areas. One was a size 6 and one was a size 5. Well, here's the 3 to 6 ones. So the first time I would normally score one, I don't do anything. I simply move this hexagon 1. Then the next time I would score 1, I'd move the hexagon again. And I keep doing this until the last time I flip it over. Then I start scoring points for them. So until I've done it 5 times, it doesn't score me any points. The other ones are easier to do. Like, for example, if you have a 6 to 8 size industrial one, you flip it over the first time. After that, it's going to get you 4 points. And some of them, the 9 or higher industrial and the 8 or higher commercial, are going to start giving you points instantly But the rest of them, you have to basically rotate these tiles. So sometimes you won't score something because it won't give you immediate points. And once you've rotated these tiles and flipped them to where they do score you points, you will consider going for those. The tree in the standard game can still be grabbed and still gives you points, but only works until you get to 50 points. After that point, you can no longer grab the tree. And in fact, this game only goes to 100 points because it's going to take you a while to start scoring as many points as the original game. In this game also, before the timer runs out, each player is going to have 4 tokens here: industrial, residential, commercial, and longest road. You can grab any number of these tokens that you want, that you think you have the single largest group of, or the longest road. So let's say I put these out, I think I have the biggest commercial area, and I think I have the biggest residential area. If I'm correct in that, I'm going to get a bonus of 3 points. For each one I'm incorrect on, I will lose 2 points. In a 2-player game, they recommend you put a shield between the players so you can't see what the other person's doing. But in a larger group, you can look around at what other players are doing and try to guesstimate. But again, you have to do this before time runs out. This continues on. The first person who gets past 100 is the winner of the game. If multiple people, whoever has the higher score wins. Okay, well, you know, the components for this game are a little bland, and when I first saw them, I thought, you know, I don't really, this blue, yellow, red thing. But once I played the game, I was kind of glad they were that bland because they were kind of easy to put together. The tiles were a little lower quality than I would have wanted them to be, punching them out. But other than that, everything seems to come together pretty well. The gameplay itself. Now, speed games are kind of a toss bag for me because I'm not a big fan of a speed game where if you're faster than me, you win. But in this game, the speed is more of a kind of just a countdown in a sense because you have a minute to put your city together. And I like that because I can't imagine what this game would be like playing with no speed because the analysis paralysis guy would sit there and maximize his points. You take 6 minutes to build a city. And as it is, you can throw your city together in less than a minute and you will score some points. If the other guy is faster than you, doesn't mean anything. If he grabs that tree, sure, he'll get some bonus points, but that only works up to 50 points in a standard game, which brings me to this. Standard game rocks. So much better than the base game. I mean, they're essentially the same thing, it's just the scoring is different, but the one thing I like is the as you score, as time goes by, and you've moved some of those tiles and flipped them, then you're like, oh, well, I'm kind of prone to build some industrial areas because I have all that stuff flipped. And yeah, I drew a lot of these commercial tiles, but maybe I don't care about that so much. And I like how you can flip them and make several small areas, which might give you points because you have that one flipped. Or you can make a bigger area, which will move the scoring tile, but doesn't give you any points that round. But maybe you want the points now. And also, trying to pick the tiles to put out in front of you to see if you have the biggest area, that's fun. And in fact, I think this game functions really well as a 2-player game because you have no idea what the other guy's doing. But you consider and go, that's a pretty big commercial area. I'm pretty sure I have the biggest commercial area. And that's just kind of a medium residential area, but maybe he hasn't. So I'm gonna kind of wager that mine's bigger than his. And I find that very fun. So the speed is there, but it's not something that kind of overwhelms the game. It's not something that slow people are gonna be like, oh, I can't just keep up with everybody else. Well, you don't have to keep up with everyone else. You just need to build your thing in a minute. And putting them together, it's kind of like Carcassonne, except you can put stuff together any way you want, and then you get to score points. I think that this game is a pretty cool game. I was very impressed by it. I enjoyed the speed to get the points in different ways. It didn't tax my brain too much, but at the same time, I was like, ooh, if I move that tile down there, I can connect those 2 areas and make a big area. Or maybe I don't want that big area. Maybe I can split it up. And so entertaining and fun. Certainly one that I would recommend you try out, Mad City.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.